Boom, we're back, guys. Another episode. And today's topic, really juicy, self-rejection and blockages. It was Leo's idea, obviously. Yeah. So I'm curious, Leo, maybe you can give a little bit of an introduction why this topic came up for you, like what you find interesting about it. Just like 1 or 2 sentences, that's fine.
Well, first thing is something that I'm experiencing a little bit at the moment in the past few weeks. So I think it's a nice way to show how we deal when things come up to us and how we can become aware of those things. And that is halfway to be able to, not go over, but experience it in a different way that we might be from when we started. And because, as funny as it might sound, a lot of guys, what is actually in their way of achieving the relationships that they want is themselves, in terms of they are not that afraid of being rejected, but they are more afraid of getting what they want. So I thought that would be an interesting topic for us to discuss a little bit and bring our perspective.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think we've all heard that before. At least I did back when I was maybe like 19 or 20 and I found all these motivational videos. I found out about personal development. I was like, fuck, dude, I can change. And so there were all these videos, and in some of them, like repeatedly, I've heard that it's not the fear. I think it's from the movie, is it Coach Carter, where it's like, we're not afraid of failure. We're afraid of letting our own light shine, right? Of the success basically that we can have. And it might be really interesting to kind of uncover what's underneath that. Why would we be afraid of success in the first place? Because like, if you look around, people like, they like success. They're like actually giving you props, and they're like, fuck yeah, dude, you're like building your business, you're doing this, and actually encouraging you to be successful, right? But for some reason, a lot of us still get stuck there. And it could be interesting to look at why that is the case. And so we kind of chopped it up again into a few different parts. Let's see how this goes. But the first one will be fear of success and fear of rejection. The second part will be about self-rejection. And then the third one about blockages that get in the way of meeting people. And throughout this whole thing, we're going to try to tie our own experiences where we see fit, or we leave it until the very end to give you guys like a nice overview of what this work looks like when you're on that journey, right? What the current experiences look like. So do you want to kick it off with the first one, fear of success and fear of rejection? So let's start with the fear of success. Where do you think that comes from? Why do we have it? All right, super quick before we dive into today's content. If you are looking to become a truly high-value man, if you want to become the best version of yourself as a man, the highest potential you can possibly reach in this human form, and you also want to have amazing relationships with other people, with women in particular, if you want to learn how to have thriving, healthy, passionate, deeply fulfilling relationships, then don't forget to subscribe below this video, hit the notification bell so that whenever we post a new video, you will directly be notified. And also like this content if you enjoy it, right? If this resonates with you. And then don't forget to leave a comment, anything that you find valuable, anything you want to share from your own personal experience, post it below the video, and I'll be sure to check it out and respond to you. And then lastly, we do have an exclusive Facebook group, which is also linked somewhere below this video. Go check it out, join the Facebook group. I'll be doing exclusive live calls on there where I'll be sharing some of the most transformational tools that have helped me on my journey, that have helped Leo on his journey, and obviously a lot more stuff that I'll be discovering that I'll be sharing with you only inside the Facebook group. So without further ado, enjoy, and I'll see you there. Peace.
I would say there is a correlation between our perceivedness of who we are as individuals, and that can be related to dating, that can be related to other things, but it's kind of like an attachment of knowing where you fit or in which box you see yourself in. So you are the guy that needs help on dating. You are the you are the guy that is introverted. You are the guy that is extroverted. You are the guy that likes football. So we have all these boxes, right? That not only people put us into, but we kind of put ourselves also into that. And that is comfortable because there is the comfort of knowing that you fit in this specific part. And then when we put ourselves to test, or when we have to go out there and be different, it's really uncomfortable because there's a lot of not knowing. There is a lot of, well, but if I do this or if I change to be like that, then I don't know who am I anymore, or I don't have this strong feeling of control over who I am. So a lot of guys, they will keep not even achieving, but they keep themselves to be able to get somewhere because they want to preserve, without even seeing that, they want to preserve this image that they have about themselves. So like the PUA guys that just go and talk to 300 women and get I don't know how many numbers, and they just keep going, they keep doing, they don't stop in conversations, they don't elaborate further on their connections because they think they need to keep learning, and they have this strong attachment that they are bad in this, they're bad with women. And then when the opportunity shows up for them to go to a place that it's uncomfortable, to go to an instant date, to go to get intimacy towards someone, they find an excuse to go back to their old self, let's say, the old and new self. So the fear of success, I think, is strongly related to that, to this idea that you lose control over your perceivedness idea of who you are.
Yes. And it's, I don't know if you've heard this, but when I did Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins, maybe it was 2000, I think December 2021 or something, somewhere around there. And one thing, I'm not generally a fan like of what he's talking about because I feel it's lacking the depth that's necessary, because it's still very much, I don't know, inspired by like, you know, pushing to a certain level and kind of working hard for your success. There are certain tools that I agree with that are really good. Now, one thing that he said though is when we have our identity that acts like an anchor, right? So we have this anchor here, and this is our status quo. So this is where we like to be. And then whenever we venture outside, almost like a thermometer, right? Like the temperature that's being measured. So if we go too high, the temperature gets too high, then we want to go back down to the status quo. Also the same way, if it gets too cold, it's like, oh, no, let's go back, right? So we always kind of like, we always retreat back into like the comfort zone, right? The thing that feels most familiar to us. And so I guess that's really the key thing, like the familiarity. And the familiarity is just like the things that we've experienced, the things that other people have told us, the way we look, our body, etc. Right? And I was on a date yesterday and I told the girl, like, what is the thing that makes you you? Right? And for most of us, we've been taught since birth, it's the things that are different from everyone else. It's the way we look, it's our experiences, the way we talk, right? The way, like, those kind of things, our circumstances. And then we feel like this is who we are, and that forms our identity. And then later on in life, we try to conform to this identity, right? And then it's like we're already imprinted or we're conditioned with a certain set of experiences, the way we look, and we can't really change anything about that, right? And so it's like, this is who we are. And not to mention, also when we're young, then it's not that we're fully encouraged and it's like every single part of you is perfect. No, there's a lot of parts that are not perfect. So all of that is internalized. And then we have this identity of, like you said, maybe I'm really shy. And then that translates into I'm not good with women. Women don't like shy men. So I have to work on all these things to become not shy anymore. And then I will be attractive. Then I will be worthy of love. But at the same time, we forget that this thermometer keeps trying to pull us back into what's familiar, right? So it's like, it's very difficult. Even when we set out for success, That's when self-sabotage comes in. Well, we say like, oh, I'm trying so hard, but then somehow it's always not working out. Right? We keep coming back to the same place, whether it's with women. And then over time, what we can do is when we start to see this, it's like we can detect certain patterns. Right? That can give us clues into, oh, look, this is what I really believe about myself at the core. This is my identity. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that resonate?
Yeah. And I think it's clear for people from outside to see most of these patterns playing out. But for the person that is experiencing that might come in really different ways, and in ways that it feels so natural and so truthful to your experience. For example, when a guy has the opportunity of going out with this girl that I like in a social event, and then he just feels so tired all of a sudden that he can't leave the house. And he's like, no, I'm so tired today, mate. I can't go. We had this and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then he knows he'll stay at home and he's going to sleep at 4 a.m. thinking about the opportunity that he didn't went to. But in his mind, he created like these ways of avoid dealing with this uncertainty. And I see that with a friend that I have, which he always say that he's not interested in meeting women. He always tells me that. He's like, no, I'm not interested. Even when a woman comes to him and start talking, he's like, nah, I'm not really interested. I'm not really interested. But at the same time, he's doing other things that show that he's interested into that. He's going to strip club. He's watching porn. When he sees a hot girl in the gym, he talks about it. So it's like we can see that it's there. But we can also see that there's a protection that is preventing him from actually going and experiencing, meeting someone in the real world. No? And then just by accepting or identifying certain behaviors and certain patterns can already show you a way of how to deal with that. Can already be clear for you to, oh, okay, that's my pattern. That's what I'm doing. Next time that this happens, I will deliberate, make a decision of doing the opposite. Of course, we are dealing here with more like action-reaction. We are not dealing with fundamentals. But for the fundamentals, we go, a bit deeper, and you can join one of the courses that Martin has that will definitely touch more on this fundamental part if you want really true change, something that is not, this action-reaction that we are talking here. But now looking at the action-reaction, there's also ways to see how that plays out and to make decisions in the moment that might be uncomfortable. But you have to do it. You have to take those steps and you have to go to these places that are unfamiliar. That doesn't mean that things will work out, and they often don't. And that's why when we get out of our comfort zone and then we do the things that we are not comfortable and they fail, the first thing that we want to do is, okay, I'm never doing this again. So someone that doesn't like to go to nightclubs because they think it's, a waste of time or whatever. They go to nightclub, they get rejected left and right, they spend $200 buying drinks or doing whatever they're doing to the entrance, and then they get home and they are frustrated and they're like, okay, yeah, that's it. I'll just go back to my default. Not to say that I have to go to nightclubs. I also don't enjoy nightclubs these days anymore. But when I have the opportunity to really go and have fun with other people, with my friends, with people that I'm interested in meeting, I go and do it. The opportunities they show to us. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves to take action towards something that is uncomfortable.
Yes, man, there was so much gold in what you just said, and many things came to mind. And the first thing I also want to say from my own experience, nightclubs, they have gotten this taste in my mouth almost from all the times that I went out in the past and I was rejected. I didn't get the results I wanted. It was daunting. It was scary. And then I started to notice I'm less inclined to want to go to nightclubs, right? And so it wasn't about that because sometimes I would tell myself, well, I'm just tired. Look, but then I would still stay up and watch TV or like watch porn or like go on Tinder or whatever until 2 or 3 in the morning. So I could have gone to a nightclub. So it wasn't that, right? So the first thing is the self-awareness. And I think with all of this, what I want to tie this back to is it's important that we see, like you said a few minutes ago, you said that sometimes we have to go to the opposite, right? And that can happen on this path. Oftentimes in the beginning, we swing from one extreme to the other. And that can be helpful in order to show us something, to kind of broaden our awareness of what's going on. But then later on, the next step after that is to really, the main difference that we want to look at in the way we act, the way we behave is, one is I consciously respond to something, the other one I react to something. Because oftentimes going to the opposite is also, like you said, still a reaction, right? It's still not a conscious response. But first, we sometimes need that. We have to go all the way to the other side to see that. And then it's all about, am I consciously responding right now, or am I reacting? And the reason why that's so difficult, though, to figure out in the moment, and this is why we say we both like work with other people who can see more, that have a more increased level of awareness, a higher level of awareness that can point things out for us that currently we can't yet see. So we need to develop the insight first to see all of that. And that's why it's helpful to find someone else who can guide you through this, right? So if you're interested in that, there should be links somewhere under this video. You can reach out to me, book a call, and we can talk about it. But one of the main reasons is because the present moment becomes a blind spot when we live in time. When we live in the past and in the future, the present becomes the blind spot. And the only way to see the connection and to know, am I consciously responding right now, or am I reacting to something in the past? For that, we need to see the cause and the effect. And the cause and the effect, they only become visible to us, not with our eyes, but with the, let's call it the eyes of the heart, in the present moment, right? So we can't see it when we live in the past and the future all the time. So we first need a certain level of awareness and keep increasing that so we can see cause and effect. Then we have a choice to respond consciously to something. But before that, it's almost impossible because there's a lag that happens and we don't recognize that there's a cause that we created, like we were the cause, and then now this is the effect. And what I want to tie this back to is what you said first, which was then we have no choice but to either protect ourselves against the world or we have to fight. So either we go into defense or we fight. Competition or retreating and defending. But either way, it's still reactive behavior. And this is kind of what we do then, right? We say, oh, I don't really want the women. We don't even notice it. Other people can see it clear as day, but we ourselves, the present, it's the blind spot. So we can't see it. Other people look at it and they say, dude, you might want to check this out. And we're like, no, what are you seeing us wrong? Like, right? We have this major reaction and we get triggered because there's obviously something there that's not integrated. So it's like, it's a sign something is there and let me look at this.
And
right?
and the body feels that also. That's what I was saying, is that you will feel tired. You will feel this sudden headache to come up, you know? There's all sorts of way for your body to align with your mind and be like, no, danger, danger, don't go, don't do this, don't do this. It's like going to the gym. Sometimes I'm like, I feel super tired and I have this headache out of nowhere and I'm like, man, I really don't feel like going. And then I go and then I start doing the exercise, everything is gone. And I say, oh, okay, amazing. Or for example, this beautiful girl passed by and then this anxiety comes in and it feels like, oh man, I need to take a shit right now. I can't go and talk to her. And then you go, you say hi, and then you keep talking and you go for a date later. And then you come back at 11 p.m. home or whatever it is. And you didn't even had to think about the toilet anymore. No.
Yeah. It's like when the body starts, like you feel it, it's just constricting. It's like tensing up. And sometimes like, oh, I need to take a shit. Sometimes for me, it feels like, oh, I feel like I really need to pee right now. And I just peed like 2 minutes ago, before that. It's like my body's like, no, you got to pee again. And it's just like the body, like you feel the tension like really coming into the body. And it's like tensing up and restricting, constricting. And that is, yeah, when we can notice that, then we can go from like this to kind of open up again, right? Open up again.